Missy Walsh tweeted, I Found You by Andy Grammer. Oh my God. This album keeps getting better and better. This upcoming tour is going to be insane. Hashtag naive. And joining me now to talk about that album is the multi-platinum artist himself, Andy Grammer. Thank you for joining me.
Good to be here. Thank you for having me.
So the first thing I thought when I saw Naive is that it felt like a little different than some of your other work, because I feel like a lot of your music are really upbeat, pop. So why Naive?
The Naive is it's kind of like a rebellious way of saying I've always been the guy that smiles so much.
Yeah.
And I know I'm like kind of in on the joke. Like I know that some of the world will think like when you smile too much, they think you're a little daft or like stupid. Like don't you know the world is like pretty terrible?
Yeah.
Why are you smiling? And so Naive is like a way to say like, listen, call me whatever you want. I'm still going to show up and be like really, really happy and smile and sing about being positive.
Yeah. Well, you actually tweeted, the run-up to a release is always kind of a wild experience.
Yeah.
Big dreams, pressures and worries, expectations, doubts and excitement, a roller coaster of emotions. This album kicked my ass.
It did.
How did it kick your ass?
Well, at this point now, there's like a lot of pressure, whether you want to like look at it or not. It's just there to find magic, to find like something amazing, to find something worth singing about. And I don't know, I hadn't found it for a long time. So it's one thing to go in to create something like excited, and then when you create for a long time and don't have it still, then you start getting into a weird place. And the weird place actually brought me to some of these darker songs that I think are really, really great. So songs like Don't Give Up on Me, that comes out of a weird dark place. or like My Own Hero. Like these are like songs that are like, oh man, I need to find some inspiration for myself.
Yeah, I was going to say, in the longer post on Instagram that I just quoted from, you say, Don't Give Up on Me came from when you were in the creative wilderness.
Yeah.
Was that like a moment of writer's block for you? Like,
sure. It's kind of like writer's block, or just, writing stuff and trying things and being like, that's just not very good. And if you do that enough, it'll start to get weird. Like, do I even know how to do this? Wow. I think anyone creative has these ups and downs and these doubts and stuff like that, yeah.
Now, I know that you were a street performer a while back. Have you learned any lessons that you feel like you could even take to those moments when you're just struggling with the creative process? Did it help you even navigate experiences with fans? Like, I can only imagine being that up close with people while you're trying to do your thing.
The biggest thing that you take from being a street performer is that art is kind of subjective, but not really. Right? So when you're out on the street and you're playing, you can tell when a song is reacting with people and when it's not. So an easy thing for an artist to do is to write a song, and then when people don't like it or freak out over it, you go like, well, you don't get it. You guys don't get it. You're the worst. Yeah. And street performing shows you like, no. There's either a hook that makes people feel something or it doesn't. And so that's what I've taken is like at every moment. Like the little thing that happens when you're watching someone street perform, I don't know the last time that you put $1 or something in somebody's case. Is it rare or do you do it a lot?
I mean, someone really has to catch
you have to like freaking nail someone. You have to be walking by and someone's going to be so good. They're like, oh my God, I think I love you. And here you go. And that's what has to happen now online, on the radio, anywhere. So like, I just put a really high standard on what the song has to make somebody feel.
Yeah. Now, you post quite a few videos of your daughter, and I know she's very cute. In your last album, you said that you had to like relearn words and phrases through talking to her, and it kind of changed that message for you. Did your relationship with her impact this album at all?
Yeah. I mean, love songs for sure. You can sing them to your wife, you can sing them to your daughter. On this album, there's a really sweet song called She'd Say. I lost my mom 10 years ago, and so I wrote a song about what my mother would say to my daughter, and that was really freaking sweet. Yeah.
Well, one thing I have to ask you is that a couple years ago you were on stage with Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
And I feel like everybody asks you, is fixated on this. Like when I was doing some research, like people were asking you in interview after interview after interview about Taylor Swift. What is that like? Like, do you ever get tired of talking about these kinds of moments?
Taylor Swift is exceptional. Artist, community builder, songwriter. She's the jam. So I have no problem.
You're cool with it.
Listen, she's amazing, and she really knows how to share the spotlight, which is pretty cool and rare.
Yeah, that's really cool. Are there any other artists that you're really hungry to work with, or even like make a little surprise appearance at
so on this album that's coming out, I was so lucky to write with two rappers, a guy named Andy Mineo, a guy named Swoop, and then this African male choir that was used on the Paul Simon Graceland album. They're Ladysmith Black Mambazo, and I got to go in and write a song with them, and that was really freaking awesome. So that was like my dream.
Yeah.
I'm like a huge Paul Simon fan, and that was awesome.
Yeah, so that checked off.
Checked off. I'm good. I think I'm done.
You're done.
I'm straight.
You're done now.
Yeah.
You're done now. Well, you're not only in music, you also have a podcast called The Good Parts.
Yes.
Where you really get to sit down and go in depth with different artists and people in public life. Has there been a guest who surprised you with something that they've said that you asked them?
Well, they all surprise me. One of my favorite questions to ask people is, what's your most spiritual experience? I like to get to the edges of where people are in their lives. Because we kind of go throughout our day, and we just like live, and you got to go to work, and you got to eat, and you got to do all this stuff. And then when someone hits you with a question like, where do you think we go when we die? You're like, whoa, man. Let's like take a second and feel that out. And so there's been a lot of incredible, I mean, Dan Reynolds had some really cool from Imagine Dragons. Lindsey Sterling, she had an incredible story about her father. Just like a lot of people, when you ask someone that, I don't think you even have to be like a big star to come back with a really interesting answer.
Yeah, it would prompt a really interesting.
It's a really interesting answer, yeah.
Well, listen, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
This was really fun, yeah. And Andy Grammer's new album, Naive, is out now. More AM to DM is up next.